You've probably come across it online, cat owners raving about raw food diets. You've seen the photos. Cats gnawing on raw chicken wings, devouring turkey necks, or licking up plates of organ meats and supplements. Some say it's the best thing they've ever done for their pet. Others warn it's dangerous and unnecessary. So, what's the real story? Today, we're going to dig into that question. Is raw food for cats really a healthy, natural alternative? Or is it a well-intentioned risk that could do more harm than good? If you've ever considered switching your cat to raw food, or if you're just curious about all the hype, this is the video for you. Let's start with what a raw food diet for cats actually is. At its core, a raw diet typically includes raw muscle meat, raw bones, and organ meats. Some people follow what's called the prey model, aiming to replicate what a cat would eat in the wild, like a small rodent or bird. Others follow something called the BARF model, yes, that's the real name, which stands for biologically appropriate raw food. That version sometimes includes fruits, vegetables, and oils to balance out the meal. Some cat owners prepare everything at home. Others use commercial options, frozen or freeze-dried raw diets that are pre-made and packaged for convenience. But no matter which path they choose, most people who feed raw do it for one main reason. They believe it's closer to what nature intended. And that belief is grounded in truth. Cats are obligate carnivores. Their bodies are designed to eat meat, raw meat, in fact. Their teeth, digestive systems, and nutritional needs are all structured around animal protein. They don't need grains, fillers, or carbs. So the logic is, if wild cats don't eat dry kibble, why should our indoor cats? Supporters of raw feeding often say their cats have shinier coats, cleaner teeth, smaller poops, and more energy. Some switch to raw because their cat had chronic vomiting, skin allergies, or digestive issues, and they saw improvement after switching diets. In many cases, those results are very real. But this is where things get complicated. Because while raw food might seem natural and even beneficial, it's not without risk. In fact, there are some serious concerns, especially if the diet isn't handled correctly. The biggest issue is bacteria. Raw meat can carry pathogens like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. While cats have strong stomach acid that helps break down bacteria, they're not invincible. Young kittens, elderly cats, or cats with weakened immune systems are especially vulnerable. And even if your cat doesn't get sick, the bacteria can still be passed to humans, through handling food, touching surfaces, or even from your cat's fur or saliva. And let's not forget the human side of this. If you have kids, seniors, or anyone immunocompromised in the home, a raw-fed cat could pose a health risk, especially if hygiene isn't airtight. That's something most pet parents don't think about right away. Another problem is nutritional balance. When you make a homemade raw diet, it's easy to get the ratios wrong. Cats need precise amounts of taurine, calcium, phosphorus, vitamin A, and other nutrients. Too much or too little of even one element can cause long-term problems like bone deformities, heart disease, or kidney strain. Organ meats, for example, are rich in certain vitamins but dangerous if overfed. And feeding only meat, without organs or bone, leaves out critical nutrients. It's not just about raw food being natural. It has to be complete and balanced. That's why veterinary nutritionists emphasize this point constantly. Just because something is raw doesn't mean it's automatically healthy. And just because something works in the wild doesn't mean it translates perfectly indoors. Wild cats aren't living to 20 years old with access to vet care. They're surviving, sometimes barely. So we need to be careful not to confuse natural with optimal. Now, that said, can raw food work when done correctly? Absolutely. Some cats thrive on it. But, and this is a big but, it takes commitment. That means using fresh, high-quality meat, practicing strict food safety, and ideally working with a vet or pet nutritionist to ensure the diet is balanced. If you're not up for creating your own meals from scratch, commercial raw foods might be a safer entry point. Many of these are designed to be complete and balanced. Some even go through a process called HPP, or high-pressure pasteurization, which kills harmful bacteria without cooking the food. If you go this route, make sure the food is labeled as complete and balanced, and is certified to meet AAFCO standards for feline nutrition. So let's say you're thinking of making the switch. How do you know if raw feeding is actually helping your cat? Many owners notice smaller, less smelly poops. That's because raw food is more digestible, with fewer waste fillers. Some cats gain a glossier coat, start drinking less water, because they're getting hydration from the food itself, and show more energy or playfulness. If your cat previously had skin issues, vomiting, or sensitivity to dry food, you might see those symptoms improve. But again, none of this is guaranteed. Not every cat responds the same way. And there are definitely situations where raw feeding is not recommended. If your cat is immunocompromised, recovering from surgery, or dealing with cancer, raw food is probably not safe. If you're pregnant or have a young child at home, you may want to avoid the additional exposure risk. And if your schedule or budget doesn't allow for safe food handling and proper ingredient sourcing, this might not be the best choice. At least not right now. What about transitioning? If you do decide to feed raw, don't switch cold turkey. Start by offering a small amount of raw food alongside your cat's regular food, wet or dry. Over several days or weeks, gradually increase the raw portion while reducing the old food. Watch your cat's stool, energy levels, and appetite. If something seems off, slow down. And never mix raw food with kibble in the same bowl. It digests at a different rate and can cause stomach upset. Also, remember that hygiene matters. Wash your hands before and after feeding. Clean bowls immediately. Don't leave raw food sitting out for hours. Keep your freezer clean and organized, and always thaw food safely in the fridge, not on the counter. So what's the bottom line? Is raw food good or bad? Honestly, it's neither. It's a tool, a method. For some cats, and some households, it's a great option. For others, it's too risky or too complicated. It really comes down to this. Are you prepared to do it the right way, consistently, and safely? If yes, and your vet agrees, it might be a great fit. If not, that's okay too. There are plenty of high-quality cooked and canned diets that offer excellent nutrition without the same risks. Raw feeding isn't magic, but when it's approached with the right knowledge, it can be beneficial. The key is education. Don't just copy what you see online. Do the research, talk to your vet, work with someone who understands feline nutrition. Your cat deserves food that's safe, nourishing, and tailored to their needs. Whether that's raw, cooked, canned, or something in between, what matters most is consistency, balance, and your commitment to their long-term health. If this helped you understand raw food a little better, subscribe for more realistic, honest pet care tips. And drop a comment if you've tried raw before, what worked, what didn't, and what you wish you knew at the beginning. Thanks for watching. Take care of your cat, and they'll return the love every single day.